Well, good morning, everybody. Good to see you. This is Linda Anderson from Linda Lou Creates, and thank you again for joining me. I wanted to share some sneak peeks of a suite that is coming to the online exclusives next week at Stampin' Up! And it features this bundle, Latte Love. Fabulous. I love me a latte, so this was right up my alley. So we have the stamp set, the dies, these fun ones that I still am working with to get the French press. This is part of a carafe. Here's your little espresso cups. You can cut out the little bits of espresso then that will fit in there. And then there's different coffee beans and things to cut out from the stamps and from the designer series paper. The paper is called a little latte, and it is gorgeous. It's a lot of the browns, which I love, and then to be able to bring in some of the other colors to make those browns really pop is what I'm going to share today. So these two cards, and this is the one I want to start with. So let me bring in all of the supplies. I have quite a stack here. I have Lost Lagoon for the card base. So it is 8.5 by 5.5. The score line then is at 4 1/4. Now inside I just used one of the stamps. I love this little, drip looking image here. So I stamped in pecan pie. I stamped it once full strength without re-inking it, came back, stamped a second time. I wanted like a third kind of image to pop here. So I re-inked it, stamped it off on some of my scrap paper, then came back and made that third image there so that I have two of the light colors for the inside. So all right, so that white piece measures 5 1/4 by 4, by the way, as does the petal pink. This is what I'm going to build a lot of my stuff on and then get down to the card base. So let me move some of this stuff off because I want to get all of these designer series papers here. So again, all the splotchiness here. We have some fun pool party Lost Lagoon on that side. This one measures 4.5 by 3 inches. So you know what I want to do is go ahead and let me get this adhered down. Where did I hide my glue? There it is. So let's get this down to that petal pink. So I love the pinks and the browns and those like teal colors too. They are, it's a lot of fun. I really like that. So, all right, here's another piece of the DSP. This measures 2 by 4. I'm going to use the other side. The plaid side then is the other piece for this card. So let's go ahead and get this adhered. And then I'll tell you about the other side, the plaid. I don't know if this has an up or down. It's just kind of what I feel like, or, a direction, I guess I should say. Not an up or down. But do what looks right for you. So, okay. Now, the piece of the plaid, this one measures 3 inches by 2 1/4. So let's go ahead and get this adhered down. Then we'll get it down to the card base and we'll show you about that focal image. So, okay. Yes, I am going to go ahead and put this down to my card base now. So once you get, whether you create the design, if you get on Pinterest or, use this design yourself, use it for other cards. And, you may not have this stamp set yet or this bundle. Like I say, it goes live next week, but you certainly can use this. Can I share with you that I did just that? And this was the card that I made And then I used this same layout with the papers and everything to create this card with the coffee. So that one was fun to make. So here we go. So see how different they're going to look using different papers, different images. So maybe I should bring the one that's already done. So yeah. So here we go. What do I have next? I have, let me move this out of the way. I stamped the coffee cup from the stamp set in Lost Lagoon. And I'm actually going to use my blends with it and to color it up. So I have the pool party, the dark and the light. So I'm going to start with the dark. I like to first look at the stamped image to see kind of where these lines are that in my mind mean that that's kind of where the shadow should be. So I'll just come in, just kind of color in a little bit there. Let me get that bottom piece. There's some more there. And then around the handle. Now on my sample here, I did all kinds of coloring and shading up here, and then I realized there is this stamp then for this cup to give you then the top of the coffee. So I'm not going to get too excited about blending and what have you here, but there we go, because most of it did get obviously covered up. So now I like to come through and just blend. So I'll go over the color that I just laid down. Come around here. I do like to overlap and kind of pull that dark into the light. So this is where now I'm starting to feel like I'm starting to do some blending. So I also like to leave a little bit of white in the center, something big like this coffee cup. And there we go. That's good for me. I have that little bit of white. Maybe I'll bring it in a little bit more. Not quite so much of the white. And then I'm just going to go ahead and fill this in up at the top. Now, did I overblend and I'm missing now my dark? A little. So I can always come back with that dark blend again and just hit those highlights of what I want that's going to be dark. Keep in mind it will soak into the cardstock more, kind of lighten up a little bit, but here is my coffee cup then. I used the die to cut it out and put some dimensionals on it. So see how on this one too, I had left open a little bit across the top, but instead I did a little early espresso, stamped it on pecan pie, cardstock, cut it out with the die, and this now will be the coffee that you will see across and in the cup. If I can keep a hold of it, there we go. All right, so let me just kind of shimmy it a little bit. So there we go. Isn't that cool having that? I love that. That's really tops it off. So I have my coffee cup. I just had punched out 2 circles. I have a 2 1/4 inch circle out of the white, 2 3/8 out of Lost Lagoon. So those 2 are also on dimensionals then. So let me bring my card back. Let's get this put into place. And then let's get that coffee cup on top. So a very simple card. Just what makes it seem not so simple is all of the DSP, but stay within that pack of designer series paper and you will have no trouble getting patterns that coordinate, colors that work well together. You'll be fine mixing up all of those patterns. I stamped just on a little strip here, this "Thanks so much." I'm just going to lay it across the cup. And then let me show you couple of the embellishments then. That are in this suite. So here are these adhesive back swirl dots. I don't know if you can see the actual little swirls that are in these. They're fun, so fun. I only used one on here, so let's do that. I'm gonna get the cream colored one. Pop it right there. The card is done. Can I show you one more thing though that's in this suite? It is this gorgeous burlap ribbon that's dotted. So awesome. I forgot about this ribbon, to be honest with you, after I made my card, so I am like disappointed in myself for not including them in including this in any of the cards, but I will in the future. So all right, so card number 1 is done. Let's go on to the second card then. So this one uses, again, the designer series paper to cut out the tops of these cups. So this is just a little piece of it, that there is a die in the bundle that will cut these cups out. So I did just that. So I cut the 3, stacked it, and I love this paper here, or this pattern here of the coffee rings. It's unfortunately on the back of this one. I'm like, oh my gosh, how do I decide? But I was able to figure it out. So, but I do love that, along with whenever there's the coffee drips, that's fun for me. So, all right, let's go over. I have a pretty peacock, rather, card base, top folding, 11 by 4 1/4. And again, like I said, all my insides are the same. I have the pattern paper here that is 3 3/4 by 5. And then I am going to back it with a piece of Pool Party that is 1/8 of an inch bigger, 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So let me go ahead and get this put together. Yeah, it almost seems a shame to cover that side up, huh? So let me get, oh, it's slipping and sliding on me, so let me pull it up. This is why I like glue, because I like these very small mats underneath that you only have a little bit of color poking out, but it also then, once that glue grabs a hold, you're kind of stuck. So let me set this aside just to show you then what's next. I have a piece of crumb cake, 2 by 5, and then I have a piece of Calypso Coral, 2 1/8 by 5. I'm going to set this aside, bring out some scrap paper. There is this fun coffee bean stamp in there, and I just wanted to add some of that to my crumb cake layer. So I have pecan pie. Now the thing when you do this as a background is just make sure you either rotate your stamp or rotate your paper. Now another thing too, make sure you go off the edge as well. I don't need to go too far. I don't need to truly cover all of this. Maybe just one more of something here. But yeah, rotate your paper, rotate your stamp, one or the other, so it doesn't look like a pattern. You want it to be very haphazard, I guess is the word I want. Very random. So give me 1 second. I stuck my thumb in the ink pad and that would be no good. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to this layer of the Calypso Coral. So 2 by 5 for this crumb cake. Going on to the Calypso Coral that is 2 1/8 by 5. Okay, now this I'm going to put down here. So I'll just kind of eyeball where the center is. And there we go. Now, as for the cup, the tops of the cups, a couple of them do have a pattern to them that is kind of directional. I mean, I don't have to have it straight up and down, but I also don't want to, I want to make sure it's not upside down completely. So, all right, so I'm going to put the heart. And I obviously overlapped mine, and I'm going to show you what I did. Just kind of, again, eyeballing to make sure that the cup itself is in a good spot, that they're all about the same. This little floral, I can kind of have it going in any direction. That doesn't really seem to have a bit of a specific direction to it. So to help me out on this, I like the way that's laid out. Now, I've just used, it is Post-it tape. It is removable. I use this a lot to hold things down that overlap my cardstock, and I don't want it to stick and rip my cardstock. So this is 2 inches wide. Let me show you. So this is 2 inches wide. So I'm going to turn this sideways, if I may, or a little bit angled so I can see it a little better. And I am going to now use this and cover up my coffee cups. The nice thing is that my crumb cake layer is also 2 inches wide. So I kind of use that as a guide to help me put my Post-it tape down. So now it is all in the same position. I can flip it over, and now I have that I can go ahead and start adding my adhesive, and in this case I am using the dimensionals. Oops. So lots of them, because that's what I do, but also because this is obviously the designer series paper, and it is thinner, of course, and I just don't want any sagging to happen with this on the card. So here we go. Now I am going to use the same technique, the same maneuver to adhere this back down to the card front. Now, like I say, the advantage is because this Post-it tape comes in various widths. I like the 2 inch. I had it work for me in this case, because now when I go to put this down, what I'm going to do is I will line up the edge of the tape, and I should have it perfectly placed. So let me bring this back in. I will eyeball it as far as the top and bottom. I have my tape lined up along the edge. Now I can press it down. Excuse me. Carefully lift it up, and now everything is in place, right where you want it to be. I was not concerned about the fact that where it overlaps the cups, that there is no adhesive here, but if you would like to drop some a little bit of liquid glue in there, go right ahead. I'm okay with the way they are now. Let's get this put down to the card front. I almost forgot that it wasn't. How crazy. Because really now we're letting the paper once again work for us, and we're almost done with this card. Now, I know I've said in the past, but I will go with 2 layers of dimension, and then that's it. I don't like to go any more than that. So I have, once again, thanks so much, stamped on white cardstock. This time I used Pretty Peacock ink. I have a couple dimensionals on it where the dimensionals are on where it's going to overlap here on the cup. So let me get that down. So there we go. Now in this case, for this card, excuse me, I used the brown of these swirl dots. So I will start with the 2 up here. And then I just wanted to pop one right here on this cup, kind of underneath my sentiment there. So it's just kind of hiding in there, but you can still see it. So that is it. So again, my sneak peeks of the new suite that's coming out next week, next Tuesday, March 5th. Online exclusives. So these are not in the catalog. You will find them online. Just either search for Latte Love or online exclusives. You might want to do that because there are a lot of new ones coming out that I think you're going to be excited about. So be sure and check them all out. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining me. Happy March. Hope that the weather starts warming up for you as well as it is here in Pittsburgh, PA. And yeah, have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. All right, bye now.